Three groups of Irish teenagers have packed their school bags and are leaving their classrooms to sample school life in 3 European countries. Over 2 weeks, the Irish students and some of their teachers will live the reality of different education systems. It's a challenge and an adventure for them, swapping timetables to follow the school routines in Finland, Poland and Spain.
Good morning, everyone.
Emer and Ada are heading to school. Emer is halfway through her stay with her Spanish host family and is already well used to the commute. It's a 15-minute ride on the Madrid metro to get to Instituto San Juan Bautista, where classes start at 8:25 every morning.
Okay, walking forwards, walking, arm circles to prepare the upper limb to play handball. Direction.
We have a great PE system at home in that there's loads of facilities and everything. And when we came here first, we looked around, we got the tour, and we thought it can't be much good if you look at the
it seemed much smaller.
Much smaller, and we thought we weren't expecting much from it. But when we got out there, it was so much fun. Like everyone was participating.
30 seconds.
Handball, yeah, it was. I've never played that before. I thought it was one of the net sports that you hit over the net or something. And I was like, oh, okay, it's sort of like volleyball a bit, but no, it's completely different. It's sort of tag game.
Quick pass. Switch side. Good. Wow. Come on.
Back home, PE it's quite different than I think it was here. Everyone participated. Well, that's what I got from the class today. Like, everyone participated. It was so much fun.
Lena, please tie your...
I feel at home, the girls, they see in a group, maybe in the centre or whatever, and don't actually participate. Whereas here, some of the girls weren't maybe the best at PE, but they still participated, and the boys would still pass the ball to us. I think it was much more inclusive here. There was no two people who were just hogging the ball.
Stop. Las dos antes también. Watch. Good. There you are. Good pass.
PE to me has been the highlight of the trip so far. Because it was just so much fun. It really was.
Good. Hey. Please, you should stretch now. A bit. Stretch.
The inclusive nature of the PE class is reflected throughout the school, where boys and girls interact freely.
The atmosphere tends to be a little bit more relaxed, I think, less formal. The fact that they're not wearing uniforms automatically gives everything a more casual kind of a feel.
I did notice as well there was a lot of people have boyfriends and girlfriends within the school, which is sort of rare to see in schools, sort of seeing intimacy. You'd never see that, even when people are going out in schools, which again is rare. Whereas, you can't walk down a hallway here without seeing 2 or 3 people shifting.
If Spanish people were to come to my school and do that, it would be frowned upon. And I kind of don't really like that it's frowned upon, and it's the way I think as well, and I don't like that I think like that.
I don't know, is it appropriate? And to be honest, I don't think students really in Ireland would have time to stop outside a classroom door and be smooching each other. They're probably trying to get in and get the homework taken down before the teacher arrives into the room.
It's the morning commute to school in the Finnish town of Siontio. Brian and Migley from St. Kieran's College in Kells are staying with neighbouring host families.
Everything's just so relaxed and easy going in the school. Even the thing that you can call a teacher by their first name, it's It's such an eye-opener. Like Finland here, it's so relaxed. It means that everybody can be their own person and can take things at their own pace. I mean, everyone's a lot less stressed in the end.
The Alexei Kievan School has a fairly typical setup for a town of this size. There are just over 400 students here, ranging in age from 7 to 16. A choice of 15 subjects is available in the lower senior cycle, and students are monitored by continuous assessment and by completing modules. In Finland, there are no compulsory state exams at the lower senior level.
In Finland, the gap between high achievers and those who would be classed as poor achievers is very small, and that's a big difference between Finland and other countries. They monitor and evaluate the students regularly, and it's highlighted at a very early age, from first grade when they're 7 and they go into school, if there's areas that need to be addressed.
7 of the 40 teachers in this school have qualifications in special education. But students aren't segregated into special education classes. Their learning and social skills are assessed individually, and each student's programme may involve one-on-one or group work.
In Ireland, we teach the class as a group, so we assume that everybody's going to be working at the same pace. And in an ideal world, we should be differentiating. So if we've got high flyers, we should be giving them something extra to work on. And then the low achievers, they should be getting extra help.
Okay, let's do the groups. So you two guys, you sit here, okay, and you guys go there.
Teimo is the designated special education teacher in this school. Today's work is a social studies project, and some of the Irish visitors have been invited along.
Be inventive, whatever comes into your mind. Try to talk. Yrittäkää puhua ihan mitä vaan.
On a weekend, you can do anything. What would you do?
Ei viitti kertoa ihan mitä. I like to skateboard.
Skateboard?
Yeah.
We were in there to practice English with most of the students. A thing that struck me was that it was also to increase their confidence. A lot of them don't have confidence when speaking in foreign language, like it is quite difficult.
That's where we're Me.
Yeah. In our city, it's actually called Kells.
I don't think we have anything like that in our school, but it's a good idea. Like it's to get people kind of out of their box and whatever it is that they're finding hard to deal with. Like I think it's a good idea. Oh, you could be.
Could be Mimi.
Come on, you know, who would you be?
Yes, sir.
Timo didn't mention that the stigma or the fact that somebody was in his class, they got a hard time from their peers. That didn't come up, which was surprising because at home, if we had students who were in a smaller class, for example, the students within the class themselves would have the idea that they're not any good at anything. Whereas here, each student seemed to realise that they needed that help.
Like all of you are very good in English, but it's just a lack of practice. Mila, say something. Is it difficult? Yes. I can see that you understand me, so that's really good.
There's been a lot of curiosity around Smartsavica about Irish ball games. The students from Leitrim have been spotted with their hurleys, and after a bit of coaxing, Brian and John Joe have agreed to show their hosts what the game is all about.
Everybody that we've told about hurling thinks it's a bit of a mad sport. I suppose it is, but that's what makes it fun.
Yeah. Me and Brian done a bit of a demonstration. We gave them a good introduction to Irish sport.
Hit them. After they saw us doing it, they immediately wanted to try for themselves.
Yeah, they're like dogs to bone to try and come and get the hurling.
Yes. It was great to see them interested.
But even we couldn't get over how quick they picked it up. Like in Ireland, you could have people trying for years and years and just could not get the hang of it whatsoever. Catch! Catch!
Done. Very good.
Yeah, very good. Thanks.
While the boys show off their skills, Sienna and Kayla are back in a class, learning the virtues of classic Polish rock music.
Music class was very entertaining, so it was more of a fun, enjoyable class, not too serious.
Do they always sing like that? Always? And she never gives out? No? She's like... She'd go for Eurovision.
They seem to be fairly enjoying themselves now, even though, well, most of them could sing, but there was one or two. I'm not a music expert, but it just, it was funny. Music seems to be a big part of their culture. It's really enjoyable and it sounds different as well compared to what we're listening to. Our traditional Irish music doesn't sound anything like it.
The orchestra is so important, like, to this school. Like, in Poland, they just love music and all that sort of stuff, so yeah, you could definitely see the passion in that room.
We got to practice on the saxophone, which was interesting. It looks easy, but it's not. We showed that anyway.
The timetable at the Madrid school is very different to the one the Limerick students are used to back in Crescent College Comprehensive. The Spanish school starts with 3 55-minute classes in a row, then a short break, followed by another 3 55-minute classes. They finish for the day at 2:30.
Ja, wir haben nur einmal. Okay, wir haben hier 3 Leute, Ines, Markus und Luise. Ja, könnt ihr das sehen? Wir haben drei
German, it was actually a lot more fun than I thought it would be. Like, the teacher was great. I went in there at first and he kind of said to me, "Oh, you've no German." I said, "No, I've no German at all." And he said, "Oh, this is your first German class. Okay, well, just sit here." So I kind of said, "Okay."
Ich war ein Jahr lang Austauschschülerin in Russland.
I found the dynamic in German class really, really interesting today. It was quite a small class, and the teacher was really able to work through the vocabulary, work through comprehension with the students, and there was very kind of smooth transitions from one activity to the next.
Eine Schwester.
Eine Schwester.
Ein Bruder.
Und ein Bruder, ja.
It's an ideal scenario, really, to have that size group. Lots of attention when the students need it.
Alles klar? Is there anything you can't understand?
He was very inclusive, and not just with me, but with everybody. When Liam came in, and it was as if Liam was one of his regular students.
We are going to ask you in German, but you are not going to understand it, so we are going to translate it into English.
Was ist dein Lieblingssünde?
Okay, und das ist auf Englisch.
And I think what made it interesting was it made me sort of realize, wow, they're doing 3 languages here, and some of them are even doing 4 with Latin, and that's sort of crazy because most of us can't even do 2.
It's crazy.
Good experience today. You are here. Und das ist
In general, Spanish teachers are timetabled to teach for 35 hours per week. The minimum pay for a fully qualified teacher in Spain is over €31,000 a year, rising to a maximum of €46,000 after 38 years' service.
Before I came to Spain, I was aware that the Spanish teachers' timetables tend to be a little bit fuller than the Irish ones, but I didn't realise the extent to which their activities were dictated to them. I think in Ireland we're used to getting our timetable, and that for us means that's your teaching hours. But here in Spain, having a timetable, basically it dictates everything that you do in the school. The main thing for me is the fact that every teacher here on their timetable has 3 55-minute periods given over to organising co-curricular or extra activities outside of the school timetable. That is something that really I would love to see implemented.
9th grade is on a literary tour of the Spanish capital, visiting places associated with Cervantes, Lope de Vega and other great Spanish writers. This is part of their social science curriculum.
Eran amigos, eran más que amigos.
I love the fact that they're getting to listen to Spanish and to live it, you know, to breathe it. The fact that it was actually part of their course that they were learning, it was great. It was taking the class out of the classroom.
Así era la vida en el barrio de las Letras, también conocido como barrio de las Huertas, ¿vale? Porque era la bajada de la Huerta de Madrid.
Education in Poland has undergone much change since the fall of the Iron Curtain. Successive Polish governments have prioritised high-quality education for all, and for a while were playing catch-up with some international standards, especially in the areas of maths and science.
The surface area. Yeah. So, A by A.
But since joining the EU in 2004, Polish educational standards in maths have risen to over and above European averages.
The teacher handed out a worksheet with 6 questions on it, fairly complicated questions with decimals and working with decimals and using the order of operations. And the way it was taught was that the teacher got each student up in turn to do one of the questions or work out each question on the board.
And you don't use calculators for these either? Never? Never. So, that multiplied by that, multiplied by that.
In school, I'd have to just put it into the calculator. I wouldn't even dream of trying to do it on a piece of paper because I know my calculator's there. So I became so reliant on it. But here, you actually have to think for a second and then do it out and you get your answer. I need my calculator.
We wouldn't do any of that kind of work, or any of those sums really that they were doing. They were doing very, very long, tedious questions out with long multiplication and division and surds and all that kind of thing.
That's what I did. Don't get A by B by H.
We were trying to get our phones out and doing it, but she wouldn't let us.
She wasn't too impressed with that.
Yeah, didn't do surface.
Well, I tried to do surface area. I tried to answer.
No.
Yeah, stop. Okay. We were assigned some questions and we found it difficult, to say the least. And there was pressure on us because everybody was watching us, you know, to compare. So we had to do well, and maybe we didn't.
At home, Brian is very comfortable with maths and achieved an A1 in the subject in his junior cert.
What they're doing would seem very simple to us on a calculator, and then we'd be going on to more complicated stuff, but then we'd be using a calculator. So probably it evens itself out, I suppose. We'll tell ourselves that.
You went by the whole top line by 1.
It does kind of show me up a bit that I have forgotten, you know, the basics, and I'll have to try and get back to that when I go home now.
Ever since the boys first demonstrated their hurling skills during PE class, their Polish friends have been eager to play.
All they want to do is hurling. We're given no free time. Anytime there's like 5-10 minutes, we go out and play hurling.
We broke one over hers, but I brought one extra for Michał. John didn't have one spare for Bartek, and he was mad to play it, so.
He recommended that his uncle is a carpenter, so he said he'd give it a go at making and play pesto. All the things you wouldn't have guessed, you see how to make a hurley out in Poland. Brand new hurley.
It's the same, like, it's an exact copy of this, like, you know. Same 32 size and perfect ash wood and all. The uncle's probably never seen a hurl in his life before, and he's able to make one more or less perfect. It's really a testament to the skills, like.
Yeah. Bart will be able to play, so hopefully we'll set up a good old hurling team out here.
Yeah, there's 4 of us now, like, so we got the makings of it anyway.
4's a crowd.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yes, yes, yes!
It's about your sexuality. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, I have a game, and here we have some questions. This is in English. Older people, they don't have sex anymore because they can't have kids anymore. Is it correct or wrong? Okay.
Health education was a bit odd, I suppose. It was just different. I don't have health education this year, so it was a bit strange, but like what was going on in the class was mad.
Or what you are going to do in the situation when your partner wants sex, but the other one is not ready for that?
Yeah, it was just a question about your sexuality. Like, it was a bit, she was kind of asking all this, like, out straight, and you're kind of sitting there going, oh, am I meant to answer this? If I answer this, am I going to seem weird, like, that I know, or something, like, but I kind of didn't really care. I was like, yep, answering almost every question that I knew, so.
It was an intriguing way to get the class to open up and to respond about those topics, because particularly at home, they're generally skirted around. It is on the syllabus for a junior cycle, but many teachers just don't bother doing it, and the teacher here was very open. She had a relaxed approach about it. The pupils responded well to her. The odd time there was a bit of giddiness, but they're teenagers, that's nothing new, and they felt free and easy at answering the questions.
Can a girl have an erection? Saako tyttö erektion?
No, it's right. I don't know. At home, if it was done, it'd be real, like, I suppose, kind of treating us like kids and not using the real words and using, like, kind of code words. I knew I was right.
Nipples.
I think it would be a good idea to do it at school rather than learning it with your friends, because you know more and you're more aware of what can happen and what can go wrong, so you're better off, like, knowing it. Even if it is, like, a bit embarrassing for the first 2 or 3 lessons, then you kind of get into it and you don't really care anymore.
Right. Hyvä. Run to the first base. 2 tukkaa mukaan. 2. Hyvä, juokse vaan. Get nervous, don't get nervous. Take it easy, take it easy.
There's 3. Okay, so.
Yeah. Do they roll?
Yeah, you walk into smack.
And when a boat hits it, it explodes.
Explodes.
All right, I see.
Follow.
On the next programme, the Irish students cook up a storm in Finland.
This? In that?
Yeah.
Do you trust me?
And the guys in Spain get stuck into computers.
Something like computers is something that is what I'm going to be doing in the future. And it'd be helpful if I could do it in school. And I should be able to do it in school.
While in Poland, they're learning how you can kickstart your career in school. Check out our Facebook page, RTE Class Swap, or follow us on Twitter at #RTE Class Swap.